cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, not likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into...
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, how you guys doing tonight? Hope everybody had a great week. Hope everybody's had a great Friday. I'm looking forward to a great weekend. This is what we call, or what I call, Sip of Steelers, where we'll get a little bit relaxed, do a little Q&A with you guys, and have a little bit of adult beverage. So tonight what I'll be drinking is Bird Dog Salted Caramel Whiskey. It's mixed with regular Coke. There is no sponsors or anything like that. Just a drink of choice for tonight. In full transparency, this is not my first one, so it should be a good show. If everybody can hear me okay, just let me know, and we'll get started. First thing I kind of want to talk about tonight before questions coming in is a layout of the or the schedule, so to speak, of what we'll be doing with the channel. And so I'll be doing a daily fix of Steelers, I guess is what we're going to be calling it, where I'll be handing out daily segments, probably about 8-10 minutes long, maybe 15, about a certain topic. I believe this morning we ran one on Kenny Pickett. And so where I'll give you my idea and my opinion on it. And then at the end of the video, what I do is I'll answer a question. So we're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. We just started Twitter, so follow us at State of Steelers. On Facebook, we are at State of Steelers, and in YouTube, State of the Steelers. And so if you have a question for our daily question, just kind of send it in there. You can put it in the comments in the live chat, or tweet it to us, or Facebook message us your question, and we'll get you on the show. So right now, kind of before, I guess, you guys start coming in and the questions coming out, a little bit about what else we'll be doing during the off season. We'll be having one live show on Mondays, one live shows on Fridays, where we'll be doing this. Once the season starts, we'll probably be breaking down things a little bit differently. Have something like a what I would call a preview on Fridays, and maybe a show on Wednesdays talking about injuries and what to expect, and things of that nature, and we'll go in more in depth about that. And so we have our first question in the live chat from Jonathan. Jonathan says, "What are your thoughts on Troy Polamalu's hair?" Well, I'm a little bit jealous about Troy Polamalu's hair, to be honest with you. I'm not gifted in that area. I have many talents, and having hair isn't one of them. Well, it's still there. It's just not as thick as it used to be, and nor well, there's reasons why I wear a hat. But Troy Polamalu is one of my favorite players. I still have 2-3 of his jerseys that I'll still rock on Sundays every now and then. He was my first football game that I ever saw was in 2005, and it was the Steelers versus the Houston Texans, and the Troy Polamalu was playing in that game, and that was my first live game that I ever got to witness. And one thing that I remember about him was just how fast he was. I mean, he could cover so much field, run corner to corner, sideline to sideline. And I mean, I played football briefly, when I was younger. I played on the offense and defensive line. So it wasn't, I couldn't tell you what the defenses were or what anything. I'd probably tell you what the offensive line was doing in the defensive line. But at that time in my life, I wouldn't tell you. But all I knew was, man, that guy was quick, and he played everywhere. We could use a strong safety like that. Right now we got Minka back there as our free safety. And, we have a rolling, round tree of, strong safeties that we can plug and play. Everybody from Terrell Edmonds to that kid number 8 last year. He ain't gonna be 8 this year. I guess Kenny Pickett's number. Man, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. And then we got that new guy, Kazi, that we just picked up in free agency. None of these guys have any, contract that would indicate or cementify them as the guaranteed starter. I think they're all on 1-year deals, prove it deals. And so we'll see what happens with that position. That's some good stuff, guys. If you're 21 and older, I highly recommend. But back to the questions. Anybody have anything else? One thing I'm excited about this year, or one thing that I've been noticing a lot this year is that's coming up is going to be the quarterback challenge and the competition that's upcoming. A lot of folks are thinking that maybe perhaps that it's going to be Kenny Pickett's job, and I don't think that's the case. I think that they're going to give Mitch Trubisky every opportunity to win the job there and to keep the job. I think it's Mitch's job to lose. Reason being is just solely because, he's the proven starter at this point. And, Kenny, he hasn't done anything. He's done some good stuff in college. He's shown progression in every year. People who talk about a ceiling, I think that's kind of funny. I understand the high floor where you can talk about how he's, pro ready. He can make the reads. He can make the throws. What I don't understand is saying, he has a shorter ceiling when he hasn't even played a snap. Now, maybe if his college career showed a plateau where he was getting better, and then maybe 2 years ago, stayed the same as far as his play level, and then maybe even, gone lower, maybe like a Sam Howell, how he was playing very well, was a projected first rounder, and then ended up being fourth round pick, something like that. And so, I can see where you can say, all right, he may have hit his ceiling because he started to digress. But when all he's done is improve every single year without showing that digression, I think you can say that, there's still room to grow. He hasn't been in a pro offense. He hasn't had a pro coach to teach him, pro offense at this level. I believe I was watching DK Sports earlier, and they mentioned that there was a difference between college shape and pro shape. And, this is first year. So let's pump the brakes on giving him the keys to the Ferrari, so to speak. And let's get into training camp and let's see what he can do. And let's there's a lot of weapons on this team. Let's just kind of give it a chance to Mitch Trubisky there to see what he can do first. And if it fails and he doesn't look so good, then we can always throw it to the rook. Let's see. Jonathan says, if the Steelers win the Super Bowl, will you get a tattoo of their logo? Jonathan, I already am planning on getting this said tattoo, regardless if they win the Super Bowl or not. I been in the market for looking for a good one, looking for ideas. So if you have any ideas or whatnot, tweet them out to me. Send it to us at State of Steelers on Twitter, or send it to us at Facebook at State of the Steelers. Give me some tattoo ideas. I'm more than happy to do so. Let's see. Bernie says, do you think the defense is going to come out strong like last year? And what about the offense being not as strong as last year and having a few new players this year? Well, I think the defense came out strong last year. I think the offense is what really crippled the defense. Last year, when our offense just wouldn't get off the field, wouldn't stay on the field and kept getting off the field, it really hindered our defense. It kept them on the field. I think our offense had more 3 and outs than anybody else, especially in the first half. I know that our first half play was horrible. We scored fewer touchdowns or scores or points, period, in the first 3 quarters. Now, our fourth quarter play was tremendous. However, our first 3 quarters was horrific. And so I believe that keeping the defense on the field so often, as aggressive as they are, and they all got injured fairly quickly. And so if we can maintain that kind of strength coming into this year, we're going to have some healthier players. I think that's going to do wonders for our team. I think they're going to come in strong. I think that if our offense can, develop a running game with Najee, develop rhythm in the passing game, and actually, move the field methodically up and down, move the ball methodically up and down the field, then that's going to give our defense less time on the field, then less chance of injury and things of that nature. However, if we can stay healthy, I think that we're going to have a high dynamic, fast defense. And so, as far as our offense with the new players, I think it's gonna be kind of finicky in the beginning. I mean, we got to understand that this is going to be a whole lot of new parts, a whole lot of new pieces and together working for the first time. Well, not a whole lot of time together, and we can't expect that it's going to come out like a well-oiled machine the first time around. It's going to be a situation where we're going to have to see this offense progress. Now, I think our offensive line and the key additions that we've put to them is really going to help us out and keeping the offense moving and in rhythm. I think the new additions to receivers, and one thing that I like about them more than anything is their ability to catch the ball away from their body. Their catch radius is amazing. Amazing. Last year, that's kind of one of the things that kind of failed us with our receivers was the ability to catch the ball. And so, in high pressured moments or when things counted the most in the late ending of games, Deontay Johnson kind of fell apart. Claypool couldn't stay on his feet and was too preoccupied with, showing for a first down. And for instance, when we're trying to win a game. And so I think these guys and the attitude that these guys have, that's going to prove wonders for us. I think that's going to be great for that room. However, I don't think it's going to be a overnight thing. So I think our defense is going to have to kind of pick it up in the beginning. So our schedule isn't very tough. It hasn't come out yet, but the teams that we're playing has, and our schedule is probably one of the weaker ones, especially compared to last year. So as long as, in the beginning of the year, we can kind of get a momentum going, I think we'll be all right. Jonathan says, better quarterback, Ben or Troy Aikman. Wow, that's not even I think you're on the wrong place if you're asking that question. Of course, Ben Roethlisberger is a better quarterback than Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman is, well, let's just say it. It was before my time. But, from what I do remember and what I remember from Super Bowl 30 was we kind of bit ourselves in the foot or in the rear when it came to that game. And so Troy Aikman, he's a Hall of Famer. I'm not going to take anything away from him. However, in today's football, I think Ben Roethlisberger, in his prime is a much better quarterback than Troy ever was. Let's see. Titan Brother says, who's the starting at quarterback? I think week 1 is going to be Mitch Trubisky. I think that if he doesn't, throw the ball away or Kenny Pickett don't just light the world on fire in training camp, it's going to be Mitch Trubisky's job to lose. He's the proven starter. He's a recent Pro Bowler. Well, not recently, but he's been a Pro Bowler in the past. He's led a Chicago Bears team that previously to him hadn't done anything for a while. And after him hasn't done anything either. And so he's been able to take that team to the playoffs. He's going to have a stronger team around him. It's going to be time to put up or shut up for him. And if he comes out and loses the position to a rookie quarterback in a very low draft, in a low quarterback draft class, it's not going to spell very good news for him. And so, and for his career, I think that he'll be, that'll be the difference between if he does well this year, it'll be the difference between him turning into a Kirk Cousins versus a Fitzmagic and a traveling or one of those journeyman quarterbacks. Let's see. We have Jaime Garza says, we have a comment. As long as the Steelers are better than Jacksonville. Well, I think that right now we are, but Jacksonville seems to have our number even when we've been highly more talented than them. I can remember in most recent times is when we lost to a what was it, Mark Bortles led Jacksonville Jaguars team in 2017. That game was more of the Steelers looking forward to New England than it was us losing to Jacksonville. It was more us losing to ourselves. But you got to tip your hats to them. I make no excuses. They beat us that day. They were better than us. Now, I don't think we play them this upcoming year. I know we did recently in Jacksonville, and it was more of a Steelers game with the crowd, from what I understand. I need to get out there and catch one. Let's see. Time Brother says Troy had Emmett and Dallas O-line to lean on. That's very true. Troy had a lot of, he had a Hall of Fame running back and a Hall of Fame receiver, and many Hall of Famers on the, I believe some Hall of Famers on the offensive line. But that offensive line could move mountains. It wasn't like Emmitt Smith was the, I hate to say that you can kind of plug and play any running back in that situation, but the holes that they were making, you didn't have to be Barry Sanders back there. Yes, Jaime Garza says 90s football is way different than today's game. That is exactly correct. The game today's, a lot of people say it's gotten soft, that you can't, hit people the same. You can't do these things. And those things, as true as they are, the game has also gotten much more violent and faster. And so those collisions have gotten more violent. And so because of that, the game has had to adapt and change. And I think it's done it for the better. It's extended the careers of the players. It has extended the longevity of the quarterbacks. For crying out loud, Tom Brady is still playing, which I'm looking forward to Thursday night, because that is probably the game that I'll be attending, the Tampa Bay, when they visit Pittsburgh, because I've never seen Tom Brady play, and I'd like to see us smack him around a little bit before he retires. But, back to what I was saying, the game has kind of changed and developed in good ways. It's also developed tremendous receivers that can catch the ball. And when you can't knock them down and beat them up, they put up stats and highlights, like the way they've been doing here recently. Let's see. Jonathan says, how was my trip to Pittsburgh? So recently I went out to the Pittsburgh draft party in Heinz Field. Got to see the first 3-round draft picks. It was an amazing time. If you guys ever have the opportunity, the chance to get out there, I think you guys should, by all means, get out there and go. It is crazy fun. The atmosphere is amazing. I'm from Texas, so getting out there and seeing all the black and yellow everywhere and all the Steeler fans and the excitement in the crowd and everything is just amazing. And so, it is something that was my first time doing, but I believe I'm going to try to be going every single year. I'm super excited about it. We got to meet the players. They came up to do some interviews. Check out I believe I posted up 2 of the interviews on the channel. So go back on YouTube and watch those when we're done here. I'm excited about it. It was fun. The only, I got to go into the locker room. I got to get onto the field. The only thing that I didn't get to do was catch the ball, kick the field goal, and throw the ball in the end zone. And that's probably the only things that I regret doing. The day kind of got away from me. When I had the opportunity to do those things, I chose to go to the locker room before those events got filled up. And so it was a lot of fun, though. I'm definitely going to do it next year. And I invite anybody to come with me. And if you guys are out there, it'd be great to meet everybody. Let's see. Josh Patterson says, I see Calvin Austin being a star sooner than later. His talents speak for themselves, but so does his character and work ethic. I love this kid already. What are your thoughts, brother? So I think he's going to be amazing. I think that the NFL Combine gypped him on his 40 time. I think that he broke the record there. I mean, it's clear as day once you rewind the tape. I love the fact that we beat the Ravens to that pick. Just knowing that the Baltimore Ravens were about to select him right after we just swooped in and did that. I feel that was awesome. That was great. It was Kevin Colbert's last dig at the Baltimore Ravens, and I love it. And I think he's going to be great. We don't have anybody that plays a slot receiver, or is a full-time slot receiver. We'll kind of mix in people. We had Ray McLeod in that position last year, and with his speed and ability, he he was able to do some things, and he actually made a name for himself. He made himself a pretty good contract with the San Francisco 49ers. And so if he can do that, and his hands were kind of hold your breath when the ball was in the air kind of hands, where you didn't know if he was going to come down with the ball, it really made it for for this guys to come in, and if he can kind of play in a similar role and we can feed him the ball, I think he's going to be a superstar for sure, for sure. Oh, there goes Siri trying to listen to what I'm saying. All right, let's see what else are we at. Teams are too happy. Time Brothers says teams are too pass happy nowadays. Diva wide receivers asking for 20 million a year, and quarterbacks approaching 40. That is true. That is very true. That's why a lot of the success coming out of a lot of the success is, you get Tom Brady, who took a pay cut for many years, and so he wasn't taking the majority of their cap percentage wise, and then he had a lot of grade A players come to him and or come to the Patriots and play for cheap. But outside of that situation, a lot of the teams that have been successful because they've had quarterbacks on rookie contracts that aren't that high. They're not charging a lot. They're able to spread the wealth and basically attract talent and pay for talent in other positions to make the team better. Let's see, what else do we got here? Let's see, TJ. Oh yeah, I'm excited for the Tampa Bay game, and Time Brother probably can attest to this. He'll probably be he's a Saints fan. He's a good friend of mine. Don't let his name confuse you, but he hates Tampa Bay, and he'll be excited for the Steelers to play him. And I'm fairly positive we're gonna kick some tail. I've been watching I've seen Brady he's been coming out a lot more ever since he's left the Buccaneers and been posting on social media and things of that nature. I mean, when he left the Patriots and been on the Buccaneers, and this year he looks old. He looks like age is finally caught up to him. Looks like Father Time has finally came to his door. Let's see if that plays itself on the field, and let's see if he can fall off that cliff and make him wish he retired when he did. Let's see. Hyman says he's down to a football game. Never been before. Let's go. I'm a season ticket holder, guys. So this year, once Thursday comes around, the schedule is going to come out. Me and my wife, we're going to choose which games we're going to go to. The rest of the games, we sell them. We put them out there. I'm in the lower level. And so if anybody's interested, just reach out to me. I'll let you know. We'll have a show probably Thursday, kind of going over, the schedule, going over where our buy is, where we think we're going to be in and an all too early prediction as far as what we think the schedule or our record's going to be this year. And so please, like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you can be aware of all the episodes that'll be showing up on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Let's see. I went to the Heart of Dallas at the Star and watched us draft Kenny. My presence was felt. Surprisingly, there were a dozen plus Steeler fans and decked out there with me. They came from all over. Oh yeah, man. Steeler fans are everywhere. So I've gone to a few games a couple of years, or for the last few years, I've gone to at least 2 games a year, except for the COVID year. I only went to the Steelers versus Cowboys game in Dallas when they had allowed like 20,000 fans. Me and my wife attended that game. But every time we've gone to another stadium, we have been, the Steelers, that is, have outnumbered the home fans when it's been an away game every single time except once. And Titan Brother will be, proud to hear that the one time that we weren't outnumbered was the time that me and my father and my brothers went to go see the Steelers play in Louisiana against the Saints. And so in the Superdome, that game was one that we weren't extremely outnumbered, but we definitely were. All the other games, Arizona, Dallas, Houston, especially, the Steelers have outnumbered them. It's like a home game. And so I can imagine how many fans, in the Heart of Dallas. We're everywhere. It's funny because I have a few friends that I talk to that are podcasters out there, one of them being Dave Schofield from Behind the Steel Curtain. And I'll tell him, I told him one time, I was like, when I go traveling and when I go out to different airports and I go see the Steelers, I got to travel from San Antonio out to Pittsburgh. And sometimes there'll be some interconnecting flights. And, when you're leaving on a Friday or a Saturday before Sunday, and you're going to those interconnecting flights, you see all the everybody who's flying out to go see their team. And even in the airports, all you see is black and gold everywhere. It is Steelers Nation across the board. I was telling him, it's like, it's not so much the Steelers travel everywhere, it's the Steelers are everywhere. They are the true America's team. Let's see, where are we at? Daniel T. Singh says, you can't pass kick anyways. No, I can't. Ever since I tore my Achilles tendon, my kicking career is over. I told Brittany, my wife, that after my injury that I was going to have to retire and that I wasn't going to be able to participate, and I wasn't sure what the Steelers were going to do because I was going to be out for a while. Let's see. We got a couple comments, a couple of folks talking to each other. Titan Brother says Brady should have stayed retired. I agree. The only good thing about him not staying retired, to be honest with you, is the fact that in 5 years, when Ben Roethlisberger is going into Canton and he's going into Ohio, into the Hall of Fame, it's going to be all about Ben. It's not going to be the Ben and Brady show and highlighted and being, Brady's career, overshadowing Ben. Because, I mean, let's be honest, Brady's had a magnificent career. He's had more Super Bowls than any other quarterback, than any other franchise, with himself by himself. And so with that being said, when he does go into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, that show is going to be all about him. And Steeler Nation would have let him hear it during that ceremony, because Ben Roethlisberger and Steeler Nation wouldn't have let that, happen to Ben. And so the talking heads and the media may have been all Brady's week, but that day would have been Ben's day. And so I'm glad he didn't make that about him and make that conflict. And so that way, that year, in 5 years, when Ben does go to Canton, it's going to be about him, and it's going to be about the Steelers Nation and a huge celebration. Ohio will be again filled with black and gold. Let's see, Denver versus Steelers from Daniel T. I was actually there at that game last year. It was fun. It was great. It was hot. Me and Bernie went. It was I think it was a noon. Yeah, it was noon. It was a 1 o'clock game, and it was like 85 degrees, 90 degrees. The problem is we're wearing all black, and it's right directly in the sun. And so it was just like humid and beating heat. I couldn't even tell you what was happening at halftime, because as soon as it had happened, me and Brittany went off into the shade for a little bit just to get out of the heat. And as soon as the game ends, that's when the shadows and the shade hit our section 122. And that's when we finally get a little bit of the break from the heat. Let's see. Daniel T says he's down. Let's go, guys. Let's go. We have a lot of games that'll be playing this year. It's going to be exciting. I'm down. I can't wait for this year to happen. It's going to be it's crazy. We've had Ben Roethlisberger for the last 18 years. I know in 2019, he was down. He was out. He didn't play. And so he injured his arm, but it wasn't like we were going into that year expecting him not to play, expecting Rudolph to play. And so this year it's the unknown. It's going into it knowing that somebody at the head position there is going to be different. We have it's a whole new leaf. I mean, Kevin Colbert's leaving. And so our GM after 22 years is gone. The only familiar face, from when I started watching the Steelers for the long time, it's going to be Tomlin. It's just a brand new team, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see. It's a new page. I think we're going to surprise some people, and I think we're going to take that next step in taking the North again. Let's see. Highness says the Steelers should give that guy who tackled Dave Chappelle a contract. Yeah, we should. I think it was Will Smith. I just played, but yeah, that was pretty crazy. I saw that. I think that not just the NFL, but it seems like the world is just a bunch of copycatters. Somebody sees something and they have to do it. Someone goes and sees Chris Rock getting assaulted, and then now it's Dave Chappelle. It's a crazy world we live in. Let's see. Hold on. I think I'm past one. Josh Patterson says, I'm from Oklahoma, so it's either Chiefs, Cowboys around here. But as you're saying, so many Steeler fans around too. For sure. We're nationwide. I love it. Titan Brother says, what do you think the Steelers record will be versus the North? I think we're going to be all right. I think we're going to be all right. I think that the toughest team that we're going to play on our schedule is going to be the Ravens, to be honest with you. A lot of people have anointed the Cincinnati Bengals because of their position last year and making it to the Super Bowl. And not saying or taking anything away from them last year, hats off to them. They did good. They made it to the big dance. They beat us twice and in convincing fashion. However, with that being said, I wasn't impressed with Burrow before last year, and like I mentioned, copycat year. The Bengals last year got a top wide receiver, and I think that's what really changed their team around and their dynamic of their offense. And uh, I think that the rest of the NFL saw that, and that's why we saw a run on receivers so early in the first round. And so, with that being said, I think that people are going to figure that out. Receivers can be schemed for just like linebackers can. And, we can have some really good safeties. And I think we've picked up, Levi Wallace at cornerback and re signing of Witherspoon. I think our defensive backfield's going to be okay. I think we're going to be all right. The signing of Miles Jack's going to solidify the middle linebacker position. It's going to help out with the run defense. It's going to help out with the not being so predictable or being able to move the ball. Last year, we had teams like the Minnesota Vikings just gash us in the run. And I don't think that's going to be the case this year. We have, I'm hoping Stephon Tuitt comes back. We got, Wormley's coming in. I think he might not make the 53. I think he might be one of the guys that was a big contributor last year who's not going to be on the team this year. Tyson Alualu came back, and he's looking great, guys. I met him at the fan draft party in Pittsburgh this past weekend. In fact, right there behind me on that guitar is a Steelers hat for that draft party with his signature on it. So I met him and tight end Zach Gentry. And Tyson Alualu looks great, man. He's in shape. He said he's ready to go. He's been excited. He's been wanting to play since last year and wanted to help us out. And you wouldn't tell he's 35 years old. He looks right and young. So I think that our defense is going to be very different, and that's going to make our whole team be completely different. I'm saying that we're going to go 7-1 in the AFC. I mean, not 7-1. I'm sorry, we don't play that many games. I think we're going to lose one game. We're going to go 5-1 in the North. I think that we're going to split with the Ravens, and I think that we're going to sweep the Browns, and we're going to sweep the Bengals there. I'm not scared of Deshaun Watson. He hasn't played for a year. Who knows how much of the year he's going to play. And so, he still has all this sexual allegations and whatnot that had occurred. Nobody knows if they're real or not, but there's still a chance that he might get suspended or not be allowed to play portion of the year. And so at that point, then they're going to be turning their offense to I can't think. The kid from used to be the backup in the Patriots, and then he's with the Colts, and he was number 14. I can't think of his name. Shoot. Well, anyways, their backup quarterback is not somebody that I fear, and even if Deshaun Watson doesn't get suspended, he's been out of the game for a year, and he wasn't a player that scared me. He was much more like a Lamar Jackson that I feel that we have their number. Mobile quarterbacks, they don't scare me. We seem to be able to control them. Our defense does very well. I think we'll do well. I think that the running game from the Ravens and that defense still, it's going to be tough. And beating Baltimore in Baltimore, it's going to be tough. And it's going to boil down, in my opinion, to the schedule. Once we see that on Thursday, it'll kind of give us an idea if there's any like short weeks, if we have any Sunday, Thursday games that are away, kind of like we did last year against Minnesota. That those seem to be trap games for us. And so I don't think we've, come to a trap game within the division, but, I felt that the Bengals kind of did that to us last year. They were a trap game. I felt we were going to go in there and dominate them both. And, well, the first time we didn't have TJ Watt and they just beat us. And the second time, I don't know. I didn't see the game. I had an emergency with my dog, so I couldn't tell you. And to be honest with you, my father-in-law is a huge Bengal fan, and it was a hard loss. So we'll leave it at that. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Do I think Leao will start? If so, I need to order his jersey. I think he's going to play. I'm not going to say he's going to start. I think he's definitely going to be in the lineup. He's going to be a rotational piece. We have a tremendous amount of players on the defensive line. We have good players. We have, like I said, Stephon Tuitt, Tyson Alualu, Cam Hayward. He's going to be in that rotation. Those are amazing players for him to just kind of, step into and beat. He's also somebody that needs to grow, in my opinion, based on what, he measures up and kind of how he looks on film. He's been described as a tweener, where he's kind of in between a defensive tackle and a defensive end. He's not, he's a little bit too big and a little too slow to be on the outside, a little bit too small and a little too weak to be in the inside. And so, he's going to be a rotational piece. I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to be a Cam Hayward type of journey into the NFL, where Cam Hayward came in and was, kind of took it under the wing of a Brett Kiesel and an Aaron Smith. And it took him time to get into the game and to be a contributing piece. And so with that being said, I think he's going to play. I don't know if he'll be the starter, so to speak, but he's definitely going to play. Again, guys, this stuff is really good. This is Bird Dog salted caramel whiskey with a little bit of Coke. So Coca-Cola, that is. So if you guys are drinking with me and over 21, cheers. Daniel T says, continue era. Broncos might take y'all this year. Y'all had fun, not me. Daniel T is a good friend of mine. He is also a Denver Bronco fan. And so I don't think we played y'all this year. We played y'all last year, and it was fun. I've never been to the stadium in Denver. I've been to Denver before, and I've seen the stadium from a distance, and it looks impressive. It looks amazing. If the Steelers somehow play in Denver or play Denver, period, we need to go. It'll probably be in the playoffs, and if so, that'll be a great game. If we play each other this year, it'll definitely be in the playoffs, and if so, we definitely have to go. Let's see. Titan Brother says, do you think the Steelers are going to focus more on running the ball until they settle on a permanent solution at QB? Well, Titan Brother, I would say yes. That sounds like the logical thing to do. Just like I would think that the logical thing to do last year would be to run the ball more and to take the ball out of a 40-year-old quarterback's hands, and yet we threw the ball more than anybody. Now, a lot of that probably led to, with the context of knowing that we were coming from behind a lot, and so we were having to throw the ball a lot. And so normally, like I said, I would say yes. But this offense also is an offense that runs a lot of jet sweeps, and it runs a lot of it uses a lot of the short passing game to be an extension of the run. So in that essence, it may show that we're passing the ball more. However, those jet sweeps and those, short slants and screen plays, they're an extension of the run. So in that essence, I think we will. We're going to be doing a lot more of that until we get a George Pickens more acquainted with the offense, until we get the Calvin Austin more acquainted into the offense. Excuse me. Once we get those guys in and we push the defense and we're able to throw the ball down the field and we can, back those guys up, I think that at that point, it's definitely we're definitely gonna run heavily on the run. Najee's gonna be a big part of our offense, and he's a big part last year as a rookie, and I think this year he's only gonna take steps forward, and our offensive line is, they improved. Last year they were kind of bad, to be honest with you. We had we had Kendrick Green, who was an undersized center. I had a conversation not too long ago with a Ravens fan who was talking to me about Tyler Linderbaum. And I was explaining to him that, the Steelers were highly interested in him up until the combine, and he measured in smaller than Kendrick Green. And so Kendrick Green being our current center, he's small. And so last year he got steamrolled, he got knocked down. There was many times where he blocked nobody and ended up on the floor. And so I think a lot of folks kind of got a little bit leery on Kendrick Green and his size. And I think that when Linderbaum came in and measured in a little bit smaller than him, that kind of changed our focus as to who we're going to get. And I think that's why we got a Mason Cole from the Vikings, who's a bigger guy that's going to be playing more than likely center for us, pushing Kendrick Green out to the left guard. Ben Roethlisberger said it a couple of times, even most recently on the, I believe it's the Fan, where he stated that he thinks that Kendrick Green needs to be a guard. And so I think he, along with, KG last year, no, Dotson last year, there was reports that the Steelers weren't too happy with him. So I think that that's where that open position and that competition is going to be at. Mike Tomlin likes to use the phrase "two dogs, one bone." I think that those two dogs are going to be Kendrick Green and Kevin Dotson, and that bone's going to be the left guard position. Let's see. Dancy says he's drinking this as well. Salute, sir. This is some good stuff. I love it. In fact, I was Daniel T's the one who introduced me into the salted caramel whiskey. We had a barbecue out at his father-in-law's house, and they had some Crown, which is discontinued now. But it was one of the most sweet, best tasting whiskeys I had. And since it's been discontinued, what we found to replace it was Bird Dog, and it's pretty good. Let's see. Yes, Jaime Garza. We were in Colorado. He says, Bird Dog with Coke, Colorado style. So when we were in Colorado, me and my wife got married this previous Christmas. Daniel T and Jaime, they were at the wedding, and they were the best man and shoot, I can't even think of the name that they're called. They were by best men, and we were out there and we were drinking, and this is the drink of choice that we had. So I wanted to share it with everybody else here too as well. Let's see. Titan Brother says, in your opinion, who's the X factor on your offense that teams will need to account for? That they don't know right now. I'm going to go and say that's going to be Calvin Austin. He's going to be the new guy at the slot position. That's going to be he's fast. He's a speedy receiver. He's great. I think that he's going to really, right now all the focus is on Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, and Claypool. Pat Freiermuth might have a little bit of the focus point, but nobody's really going to be focusing in on the 5'7" guy. And so that 5'7" guy that can run a 4.3 40 and catch with long arms and has a catch radius of somebody who's closer to 6'2", that's going to be amazing. It's going to be a sure surprise. I think he's going to be the X factor for our offense. I think that the other surprise X factor, the other person that's going to be probably unexpected to come out, that might be that switch army blade type of player, is going to be Connor Hayward, the brother of Cam Hayward. He is the tight end, fullback, halfback, everything in between guy. He's about 6 foot, so he's a little bit too short to be a full-time tight end, a little bit too slow to be a running back. However, he's like Coach Tomlin identified him as a switch army blade. He goes everywhere. And he's going to be special. Last year, there was a lot of reports where Derek Watt was coming out the backfield alongside Najee Harris, and they were running a wheel route and things of that nature. I think that Connor's going to be able to do those types of plays a lot better than how Derek Watt was able to do so. Derek Watt really didn't put, his imprint on the offense, and I'm hoping that Connor Hayward can. And if he can, he's going to be a huge X factor and a change of pace kind of guy. He's going to be a bulldozer. He's going to be that guy that's, when we got that 3rd or 4th and 1 and we need to get an inch to a yard, he's going to be the guy that we're going to get the ball to. There's my father-in-law, Yeah, he's a big Cincinnati Bengals fan. I have to hear it all the time. So I'm looking forward to those games, and I'm hoping for the redemption. That way I don't have to hear the who they anymore. But yeah, guys, that's going to be doing it for me. I enjoyed this. This was great. I really love the interaction with you guys. We'll be doing this next week. Hit that share button, subscribe. And once you do, hit the bell button. That way everybody, that way you get notified when I come on. There's no, looking forward in the end. Again, we'll be doing daily fixes of Pittsburgh news or Steeler news every day. And if you have any questions or want to get your question on the show or question answered, please leave a comment or a message to us either on YouTube, Facebook, or on Twitter. YouTube and Facebook, we're at State of the Steelers. On Twitter, we're at State of Steelers. Follow us, like, subscribe. It's been a great show, guys. I enjoyed this one. Y'all have a crazy night and enjoy your weekend. Don't get into too much trouble. With that, go Steelers.